And now, on with the show.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Pit Pod. I am one of your 3 hosts. We also have Haley,
Hey.
Eve.
And Eve.
Welcome in,
Hey.
everybody. We're happy to host y'all again. We're coming to you live from different locations this time. We're going to do it remotely, I think. Is that what they call it in the corporate world?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Okay, period. So yeah, today we've got a couple different topics that we want to, I guess that we've come up with, but we also want to keep it a little interactive. So as we go, drop your comments. Please follow, subscribe, whatever platform you're on. Give us a shout out. Show some love.
Yeah.
I have a fun topic that I want to open the episode with.
Okay,
let's kick
go.
it, Eve.
I want to open the episode with a segment that I hope becomes reoccurring, but
Ooh.
please tell me what has overstimulated you this week.
Oh gosh.
Or you can say something that's perfectly stimulated you this week.
So
This
today,
is good. Wait.
do you want to go first, Haley?
No, I need to think a sec.
Okay, so today I worked remotely for my job and I was out at the lake house being victimized by a family member. And in a client call, I literally brought up how I wanted to take a picture of myself with a bottle of bourbon and doing a cannonball, depending on how the call was going to go with this client. And I
so
told them
bad.
that. And that was after about 500 emails and 60 different ping messages. So I was very overstimulated. But too many problems and people not having fucking common sense. That's my overstimulation.
Love
Right there.
that.
Classic.
Very classic.
Honestly.
Haley?
Okay, the other morning I was getting dressed for work and the sweater that I picked out that I wanted to wear, like ever since I chopped my hair off, sometimes like the back of my hair where it like hits the back of my neck, like depending on what color like on the shirt I wear, just like it hits right at the perfect spot to like bunch up my hair. And I'm not even kidding, that feeling. It was a collared shirt. It wasn't a sweater. It was like I was wearing like a button-down collared shirt and the collar of the shirt was like scrunching up the back of my hair that like touches the back of my neck. And truly all day I felt like I wanted to like itch my skin off.
Oof.
No, couldn't do it. That's almost like a pet peeve, Haley.
But do you guys ever have like outfits like that where you're like, I know this is like
Yes.
I have outfits that I put on and then I take off right
Yeah.
afterwards because I feel that and I'm like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't
Haley,
gonna
it's
work.
like when you're brushing your hair and like you start hitting yourself in the head
Oh
with the
my
brush
God.
because
Yeah.
your hair is so naughty. Yeah.
That's exactly what it
I have
was.
like a more like one that just happened. I just showered and this drives me bananas when my dog brushes up against my wet legs
Yes.
with his fur.
Oh,
There's dog fur all over my legs.
Ew.
Can't stand it. It actually makes me want to like jump off of a cliff.
Yeah,
would be
that's
my
so
14th
valid.
reason right there. Yeah.
Yes.
A step past the 13th reason.
Yeah, it's the action after
It's
the
the
reason.
it's the action.
Well, I know today we wanted to we wanted to talk a little bit about relationships and finding love. Please correct me if I'm wrong. We're all 25 now. Happy belated birthday, Haley.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you're in the comments, I'm gonna need a happy belated birthday because you're all late. But yeah, I think it's a great topic because, like, I think we talked about this in our second episode and I
Yeah.
hate to puff my own head up, but I brought it up of how all 3 of us are in different stages of relationships and love and
Yeah.
what that means. So I'm gonna kick it over to Eve real quick because she is, I don't want to say in the most mature relationship, but in the most
Yeah.
mature relationship. So
Right.
I think
Eve?
mature as in old, right? The oldest relationship. This is
Correct.
actually very fitting because my fiance and I's 4-year anniversary is at the end of this month. So
That's wild.
this is pretty topical
Wow.
for us. We go to Indy 500 every year, and our anniversary falls on Indy 500 every year.
That's so
So
fun.
we don't really do like nothing, we don't really do anything super crazy for our anniversary, but this year we're gonna do a seafood boil at home. So
Oh,
That's right up your alley.
I didn't get that
yes,
invite, so make sure you
it's
send that
just
over soon.
me and Scott and Ludi.
It's
So
not your anniversary, Ben.
you're not invited. We should be
It,
celebrating our friend anniversary though.
Eve, do you want me to put our picture from this past weekend on blast? I'll make sure I'm invited
No.
real quick.
Wait, do you have a picture of that?
Yeah,
No.
Of us
well,
kissing? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I
I'm
do.
so dead. So that
Anyways,
is
continue. Sorry.
I know that Ben has that printed out like on his ceiling.
It's actually at my desk. I pinned it up with a little thumbtack on my
Oh
desk.
my God, I love that.
Did you?
No, no.
Oh, I
But
was
you all
gonna
are on my
say.
desk.
Oh, you guys
Oh,
are on my
that's
desk too.
sweet. I have no photos at my desk
Wow,
other
Eve.
than photos of JFK, our Lord and Savior. But
Valid.
anyways, so what am I supposed to talk about?
Eve, will you tell us how you and Scott met and how your all's relationship has kind of grown over the past
Yes.
4 years with the
Yeah.
anniversary coming up?
Yes. I will say Scott and I met through mutual friends.
Okay.
We met on Hinge. We met on Hinge, which honestly, that would be the best sponsor ever. So
It would be.
I'm not afraid to
Is
shout them out.
is
You know what
Hinge
they
a great
say.
friend to you? Is that what you're saying?
It was
It
4 years
was.
ago.
Truly it was.
Haley, didn't you
Yeah.
meet Jeff on Hinge? Or am
Yeah,
I
I met
making that
Jeff on
up?
Hinge. No, yeah, we met on Hinge.
Yes. I have met multiple past relationships and current on Hinge.
I hate to admit that I've met the last 3 men that I've dated on Hinge.
Well, I hate to admit that.
Because it's
Who
like
cares?
embarrassing.
At least you didn't meet them in prison.
It's better
That's
than
true.
Grinder.
I'm so dead.
Sorry.
Anyways, um, so we started dating in 2021.
One.
Yeah, in
Wow.
2021, which was so crazy. That was my last year of college, and my fiance at the time he had just graduated from college, and we spent the first couple years long distance. Is that right?
Yeah, like
2 years?
yeah, more like year and a half, I would say. Because we
Yeah, that's
moved
probably right.
to Louisville May of 22.
Okay, yeah. Wait. Oh yeah, so it was like
So
right
like
over
a
like a
year.
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were long distance for about a year. It was super interesting when we met. I was at a very weird place to be meeting the person I was spending the rest of my life with.
Fair.
And anyone who's 21 years old is probably going to understand what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
but you're at that point where you don't you're not even thinking long term about anything,
No.
Yeah.
let alone a relationship. So meeting him was like definitely a blessing, I would say, in disguise. And I truly mean that because at that point, all my relationships had just been absolute, utter chaos.
Garbage.
And
Yeah.
Haley and Ben can attest to that. Like, genuinely,
Mm-hmm.
I was finding like men under rocks or something. I don't know. They were
Oh,
just awful.
literally. I cannot emphasize enough how much Eve got shit on by men, truly.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking rough. Maybe I'll tell the cheesecake story one day.
Oh my God, that's such a good one.
That
God.
day
Put
is
a
not today.
put a pin in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put a pin in that. Maybe we'll do like an episode exposing ourselves.
That would be a great
Maybe
idea.
not. Maybe not.
We-
That sounds like a therapy session. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
mind
but
being paid to go to therapy, but
yeah, we could always like change the names and stuff in the story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We'll see. We have to work up to it. Okay, maybe when we have like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we'll do it. That could
Okay.
be a
star,
good
star,
goal.
star, trauma. Star, star,
Yes.
star. Listen to this episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when Scott and I met, it was definitely at a I was definitely at a place where I was not looking, and I know that's so stereotypical to say is you find the one when you're not looking. But I
Yeah.
actually do think that's true because you are so much more open because you don't even know what you're open to, if that makes any
Right.
Yeah,
sense.
that's true.
So we started dating. It was honestly like, I would say from the beginning, I just kind of knew that this was it for me.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not gonna, obviously, I could say a lot of really good things about Scott, and Ben and Haley know that, but I want to talk more about myself and my experience in the relationship. Um, I definitely didn't really know what a healthy relationship was or what that looked like, let alone in your 20s when everyone around you is in toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
so I'm putting nobody on blast.
Mm-mm. There's no need.
appreciate it. About
You
time
know
you don't put
Really.
me
exactly
on
what I'm
blast.
thinking. You know exactly the couples I'm thinking about. But
We do.
yeah, so it was really a breath of fresh air, honestly. And while I still continued the shenanigans of a 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 year old, I just kind of felt like Scott is just always there as a rock, if
Scott's
that
just
makes
been
sense.
along for the ride, truly.
Yes. And I will say, I want to say one last thing about Scott and I that I think is so important and looked over. If your boyfriend or girlfriend or partner does not get along with your friends right now, I'm not saying like your friends have to be obsessed with them, but I'm saying like if they can't all hang out together or you guys can't all hang out together, end it. It's not going to work out for you.
Hmm.
It's not. And I feel like Ben and Haley would agree.
Oh, 100%.
I learned that the hard way. Let's be real.
So yeah, definitely I would say that's my number one piece of advice for people.
Well, and like I don't know, you get to a point, especially where Eve, you and your fiance are, of just like comfortability and acceptability and oh, what's my favorite word of the day? Unconditionality is what I'm making up today to add into the dictionary.
That's your made up word.
Yep.
I
Um,
like that. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a big difference between like unconditionally loving someone and accepting and
Yes,
tolerating. Like, I know our
I would
podcast is
agree.
called People I Tolerate, but like these are the people that I unconditionally love.
Yes.
Um, and there's nothing that can be brought to the table that would make me feel any different way than loving you all as my sisters. Um,
Oh, Ben.
and we've had some really tough conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
I mean, hell, like what, a month ago, we had a really tough conversation, and like there was definitely times where it's like if we weren't as close as we were,
Yeah.
things could have been much different in an outcome perspective. But again,
Well, and
you all
I
are my sisters, so it's like there's an
I
unconditional love involved in that.
I think it's really telling too that we can like have those tough conversations about relationships, and it's like you guys as friends obviously can like I feel like as friends it's like your responsibility to be like, okay, this is the information. Like I will support you whatever you decide, but we just want you to know XYZ. And
Yes.
Yes.
like I think it's really
Amen to that.
telling of like A, the support we have for one another, and B, like just it's really telling of like how deeply we know each other as well, that we can have those tough conversations and it not affect like our relationship with one another, or it doesn't have to be weird and it's not weird. And
It strengthens our relationship, in my
yeah,
opinion.
definitely. I would agree with that.
And I'd almost like to tie that back to your fiance, Eve, of like he gave us our time, he put his input in where like it was one of the, if not many, most appropriate moments for him to like bring his input in from his
Mm-hmm.
own
Right.
perspective, and like for him to be able to integrate himself into those conversations, like that just speaks volumes to who you've chosen,
Yeah, definitely.
and who you've brought around. And I just, you know, very grateful
Yes.
for Scott. And I want to, Eve, unless you've got anything else, I want to pass it to Haley because I'm very grateful for Haley's boyfriend as well.
I want to just quickly say about Scott and I. I want to give just like a really quick timeline of our relationship because I think that might be helpful. We started dating in May of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We moved in together in, oh my God, Haley, you might have to help me.
November of no, October of 23.
Yeah, okay. We moved in together October of 23. We got engaged December of 23.
3.
And then we're getting married. We bought a house October of 23, 4,
4.
24.
Yep.
And then we're getting married November of 25. I just think that might be helpful. Not that that's what you should be living by, but just to help. I feel like
Right.
that's a good thing for everyone to know who's listening when we're all
Yeah.
kind of talking about our experiences. So,
I think it's crazy because you all have definitely, which I admire, like taking your time and not really rushed anything. Like you guys have just kind of taken it step by step and like really truly thought about every decision that you all have made. If
no,
that makes
yeah. And I
sense.
think the important thing I wanted to point out by saying that timeline was exactly what you're saying. Like we took our time,
Yeah.
but it was our timeline. And
Right.
we did everything when it felt good to us. And there's been times where I'm thinking, why did we have such a long engagement? I wish we were already married. Everyone else is already getting married. But
Right.
then I have to shut those thoughts down because that's kind of goes back to what you were saying last episode, which is you're comparing yourself to others and you're doing
Yep.
things because you think that that's what you should be doing. So I'm really proud of the timeline that we set because it was our timeline.
Yeah.
So I'll end it there.
And that's the most important part I think anyone can
Definitely.
take away from any of our conversations. Like, you are you,
Right.
and whatever you're comfortable with is what should be law at the end of the day in
Yes.
your emotional well-being and how you reciprocate to people and what you answer to.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Love that.
so, Haley, take us away. Give us a little rundown. What we got going on?
Okay, well, I met my boyfriend Jeff also on Hinge. Shout out Hinge, the dating app designed to be deleted, as they
Period.
say. Um,
I love that. What's it called? Their
the tagline,
Yes, I love their
it's
tagline.
so cute. I I used to be obsessed with Hinge. Anyway, um,
We
we
love it.
met
There are
Feb.
worse things to be upset.
There
Go
are
ahead. Sorry.
worse things, yes. We met February of last year. Um, Honestly, I'm just gonna be really raw and honest about my first impression when I saw his profile is I genuinely thought that he was gonna be the biggest tool and the biggest asshole like ever
I remember that
because
conversation.
I literally told myself I was like, I'm just gonna go on this date like for the fun of it. I had just gotten out of a relationship a couple months before, and I was like, I'm not really like looking for anything super like serious right now, but like if it goes somewhere, I'm open to it. I was like, what can I lose by going on this date? And I was like, watch, I'm gonna go on this date and he's gonna be a total asshole, and I'm just gonna like have the memory of it, and it's gonna be funny to look back on. And I get to the coffee shop. We had our first date was coffee at Honey Brothers, and we sat and talked for 3 hours. And I finally had to like get up and be like, okay, I have to leave. Like, I cannot be here anymore. Like, I've enjoyed this, but like, we've been here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And after that, it was just kind of like, okay, well, I want to go on one more date and I want to go on another date and another. And it just like quickly snowballed into like a really fun friendship that turned into a relationship. So I think that was a big selling point for me. Not selling point, but that's
I was
like
gonna say
quote.
what you just said is so important. So
Yeah,
like
just like,
the friendship to relationship.
yes. And we literally, he would come over to my house and it would just be the two of us, and we would stay up till like 2 a.m. just like playing games and talking and like listening to music and like truly we still, I mean, even now, like sit on the couch and just like cackle with each other about literally the stupidest stuff. And like he really is great about reminding me to like not take myself so seriously and to just kind of like find the like playfulness and youthfulness of like mundane things that like you see every day. So I really admire him for that.
I love
Life
that.
is already too serious.
It
You know?
is. And Jeff does a great job of being like, you know what, like this is not that serious. Like you're fine. Like everything's fine. Like let's like I'm gonna tell you a joke about this and you're gonna forget you're even worrying.
Yes. Scott and
So
I do this thing where if we're arguing or if and I say we're arguing,
This is my favorite right here.
I love
I'm
this.
arguing at Scott.
Correct.
We literally will he'll look at me and say, "Quit acting." Or he'll say, "And the Oscar goes to,"
I think
because
that is
it's so real. It's
it's so
like
real.
he's looking at me like you're not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
All of this anger and like sassiness that you're pointing at me is not at me. It's because
Mm-hmm.
you've got other things going on and this is the outlet. So
Yep.
just quit acting. And that I would say 99% of the time that makes me break and I laugh and I just
And
kind of look and be like, "Oh,
yeah,
Snaps you out of it a little bit.
yes."
I think that's so funny.
Well,
I love that.
I want to hone in. So, Haley, you and Jeff have been together for, it's been over a year now, right?
Yeah, we made it official last April, so just over a year, I would say. Our first date was Super Bowl Sunday of last year, so we're a little over a year at this point.
I want you to talk more about like dating in your mid-20s
Okay, yeah.
and what that's like because since you are, you just kind of got that year under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about like the differences between dating someone now and dating someone in your early 20s?
It's really funny because, well, what I'll say about this is obviously I met a lot of guys in college through Hinge, through parties, through going to the bars, through like class. Like, there's so many ways to like meet new people. And people in college, obviously, hookup culture is very real. And that's something I definitely fell victim to. And so transitioning into early adulthood, it's like, okay, now I'm on my own and I have this corporate job and I've graduated college and
You're a homeowner.
I'm a homeowner and I've like bought my house and
Haley was the first one of our group to purchase a home and she did it all by herself. So, some flowers for Haley.
I love my house. Y'all can come visit. Anybody can come visit
Don't
anytime they
don't say
want.
that. We don't need all these people at our house.
My address is, no, I'm just kidding.
What's your social? Go ahead and
Yeah.
give that up.
No, but dating in your like mid-20s once you're done with school is so weird because obviously everyone is at different points in their life and everyone has a different trajectory of like what they want to accomplish. Like some people are going back to school and getting their master's degree. Some people are like running marathons. Some people are like just like doing the rat race, like the 9 to 5 thing. So it's like I think it's less about finding who's on the same page with you in that moment, but finding who's going to have similar goals with you long term because your 20s are just like all over the map, truly. Like,
Oh, 100%.
so it's finding people that have the same like long-term goals as you and like want to like have fun doing it along the way is what I would say.
Can
But
I add a little tidbit?
yeah, Ed, please.
If you're out there running a fucking marathon, get away from me.
Why has
Get
it crossed my mind though?
get
Truly.
Haley.
My body is like that is running is too jarring for me.
My
But I'm
body's a
like,
temple for
who's
food.
chasing you? Who's
It-
chasing you to be able to run 13 miles, 26 miles?
Here's a crazy thing though. I think I could do a 5K, which I know is not true, but I think I could do it. It's only
No,
what, 3 miles?
yeah, 3.2. You could do a 5K.
Scott and I literally walked a mile tonight and it took us 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm
We
telling you.
want, and then yesterday we went on a walk and did a mile and it would literally took us 20 minutes. I
Yeah,
was like, even if I freaking walked the 5K, it would take me an hour.
literally. Yeah.
I mean, that ain't bad.
Yeah.
That's where I'm gonna leave that. I don't need
If
any
it's not
haters.
uphill, I could do it.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, you go uphill, go ahead and car, please, taxi.
Yeah.
You know,
No, but dating in your mid-20s is like really jarring, I would say. And you have to,
a roller coaster.
it's a roller coaster, and I feel like I spent a lot of time in between my relationships, like trying to figure out how to enjoy my own company, which I've talked a little bit about on here before.
Yep.
Um,
Which is huge.
And
Yeah,
it's
I'm super impressed by that.
I definitely think it helps that I grew up an only child, so I'm like used to being very much alone.
Does it help or is that just trauma?
Well, the world may never
Both.
know.
Sorry.
The world may never know. No, yeah.
Um, what were some milestones in you and Jeff's relationship? I know you said you kind of talked about the first date, but what were things that occurred as time has gone on where it's like things like
Mm,
things are things are great. Like he's the right person. Like, and I don't mean this in a
Prove it.
yeah,
yeah,
like that's not what I'm
right.
asking. I'm asking
No,
for
yeah.
like the audience, like and myself because y'all are gonna get to hear me here in a minute. But
Right. I think the biggest like sign for me was like Jeff is very family oriented, and his family has been really great about kind of like incorporating me into genuinely like everything that they do. And so when he started introducing me to them and seeing how welcoming they were and seeing how invested they were in me and my story and like who I am, that was like really solidified like okay, like this can be like because I feel like I even though my family is like complicated and crazy and like divorce and all that stuff, like I really value family, and
yep,
you guys know that about me. So that was
I
a big point for me, was like meeting them and falling in love with them too, really.
I will say for your birthday weekend, it was really nice to meet to meet Jeff's sister. And
Yeah,
I'm not gonna name drop her here because Jeff is subjected to us name dropping him.
right.
Um,
First name only.
Yeah.
yeah, but it was really cool to get to meet his sister
Well, I'm
and
very glad that they got
see
to
I
what
meet
she
kind of
him.
wish
talked
I got
about.
to talk to her more. It's so hard when we do have weekends like that and
I
there's new
know.
people because we all don't. When I say all, we're talking like obviously this is like the core group, but outside of that, we have like what is there like six of us, seven or no,
Yeah,
10 of us, eight of
give or
us?
take. Yeah,
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 there's
yeah.
like a larger group. So we don't, the larger group doesn't always get together. So when we do get together, it's like almost a scramble to
Catch
catch up
up
with
and
everyone. So it's always hard. I also have a hard time with new people in general of like making it a point to get to know them. But um I don't
I
know.
think that's fair.
I look forward to seeing her and
Yeah,
talking with her more. But she, from my impression I got of her, she was great.
so great.
100%. And I don't know, that just speaks to like the family values because Eve, you also have gotten involved in
Yeah, I have an
Scott's
awful
family too.
relationship with my family. Well, not my family. I have an awful relationship with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's actually been very relevant at this point. I'm not going to go into details of that out there right now.
Yeah.
But so yes, I could agree completely with Haley saying that seeing Scott and Jeff being close with their family, that's a huge green flag for me.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I'm so interested to hear Ben's perspective on all
I
of
know.
this.
I'm actually like so excited to hear what he has to say.
I'm over here trying to like scarf down and shove
Do you
my
want to
bullet full.
pause?
No.
We can, okay.
Um, I just finished my kid's pizza, so triple dipper combo is next on the
Mm.
chopping block. Anyways, um, so relationships, love, the whole nine. I have a very complicated relationship with love,
Mm-hmm.
um, in part due to family, and then secondly due to just like the people I've surrounded myself with and what I would consider love and what I would consider a relationship. I
Okay.
think relationship is very fluid from a description perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I also find that to be the same for saying you love someone. Because if I'm hanging up the phone with like you two or with a couple others, hey, love you, have a good one, like,
Yeah.
but with relationships, it's been very hard for me because I have a lot of like self self-consciousness. Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
I
So
think
your
I think so.
insecurities.
Yes, insecurities. There we are. I have a lot of insecurities just from like growing up and the things I've been through. And that leads me to like, okay, I'm great friends with people. And both of you kind of talked on this of just like friendship, like the friendship is the first thing
Right.
where you're just like, okay, I can consider you a friend. And even if it moves quickly, slowly, whatever way it goes, B, I can consider you a partner or a boyfriend, girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
fiance, whatever. Um, and that's always hard for me to break because of my like insecurities.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I don't want to push this. I don't want to lose this friendship.
Right.
And I think that
Mm-hmm.
speaks volumes to like my, I don't know, what do you call it? My
Just like what
value of
you
friendship.
value. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I find that very hard. And like, I've been through some tough situations with different people over the years. And I've had some very, like, if there's one thing that you'll ever learn about me is I will get to a point, it won't always be at first, but I will get to a point where I will feel comfortable enough to just like rip rip the band-aid off.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You
wish
will.
more people would do that with me.
Right.
We kind of talked about, I don't know if it was last episode or if we were just talking, where it's just like, it was last episode. Sometimes I just want people to slam the door in my face.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's just fucking get it over with. Like,
Yeah.
I've told you
Right.
this, and
Well, at a certain point, people are like stringing you along,
Yes.
and they're taking advantage of you for your attention and the love that you offer.
that's
And
also been something I've
disrespecting your
struggled with,
time.
Yeah.
is recognizing that and knowing how to like confront that,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole nother beast. But I say all that to say that I am very comfortable in my being of it's okay if I'd never get married.
Yeah.
It's okay if I never find anyone. Um, I've told my mother, to be explicit, um, that I plan on being a single father. I talked about it a couple episodes ago. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. And it also speaks to like love will find you.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
I
also
I haven't had that opportunity yet, and I'm okay with that.
I would love to point out that also you probably have a whole different perspective also because you're just in a whole different dating pool than we are.
Yeah, it's a different
Like
community for sure.
I can't even begin to imagine like
Well, and that's another thing. You have to think about almost like the different subgroups of my community.
right.
So you have your older folks. Excuse me if that was offensive. Um, you have your younger folks who are in high school just figuring their shit out.
Mm-hmm.
You have people like me who have no idea what the fuck's going on, but you know you're gay, you know you're
Right.
bisexual, whatever.
Right.
Um, and then you have all the other mixes that you put societal norms against and you say, what the fuck? You know?
Right.
Well,
Um,
I truly can't imagine like putting myself in a scenario where I would have to approach someone and like have the fear of the rejection of being like, and this is also very ignorant of me to say, I will put that out there of just like, oh, like, do they even like my gender
No,
or like
yeah,
what
are
I,
they even?
like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
am
I
I
feel
gonna
the
get,
same way. I also always am like, you have double bricks
yes,
stacked
truly.
against you for that
oh,
exact reason.
100%. My favorite stories, though, are when people tell me that, like, they went and try to, like, hit on somebody and then they get rejected because that person is, like, rooting for the other team.
I'm so dead.
Oh my God, it makes my day. Oh,
Oh no, I'd love to see like when men hit on women and they're like
Lesbian?
not interested in
yeah.
Yeah.
you ever.
That type of
Uh,
shit makes my day.
Yes,
Oh, it's
because
so
those
fun.
are the men who need to be humbled anyways.
Oh,
So
Correct.
100%.
Correct.
I
But I
also want
think,
to point out too, I think Ben is so brave, first of all, for sharing all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, like just knowing, like the fact that you know and it's a goal to you that you want to have children someday and you're
Yeah.
not afraid to say, I don't care if I'm doing it by myself. I'm
Yeah.
doing it. I love that.
I should I get into the trauma that I shared last night?
Last
Oh,
night.
you're
Oh,
if you want to, that's up to you.
I'll
Totally.
share
that's
that.
totally up to you. We can always cut it if you decide.
No, we're not cutting it. I'm letting it rip, tater chip.
Let her rip, tater chip.
I think also like back to when I talked about like family and things that go on that transpire and conform your way of love. We've talked about this of like you choose the people that are family.
Mm-hmm.
And so last night or yesterday, I was sitting on the couch at a family member's place, and that person had a friend on speakerphone, and they were talking about a baby shower and everything. And her friend goes, "Oh, I thought," and she mentioned my mom's name, and she was like, "I thought like she would never have grandchildren because both me and my sister are gay."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's actually really fucking rude, and that's
No, that's
actually
appalling.
That's so
why
not
is that
right.
a conversation? Why is that even being talked about?
Why is it your business, first of all?
Well,
Quite
that,
literally,
and it's
get
just
the
like,
fuck out my business.
why is that expectation even there?
Right.
Or B, have
Right.
you even heard the expectation I'm carrying against myself?
Literally.
Like, and then I had to
That's
sit
like
there and
what you
pretend I
said,
never
Ben,
heard it.
like know when to talk like, oh, you're
Read the room.
yes,
Read
read
the
the
room.
room. Like
Mm-hmm.
for real.
Like, that was wild to me. Absolutely wild.
I
And
mean,
I
it
just had to
doesn't,
sit there and pretend I never heard it.
I was gonna say, it doesn't matter if she knew you were in the room or not, because she was on speakerphone or whatever.
Right.
It shouldn't even come out of your mouth, period. Like, that's
Agreed.
really none of your business.
Agreed. So,
Yeah.
that was a fun one. But back to like relationships, I don't know. I never see myself in a relationship, and it would take like the absolute perfect person. Not perfect. Perfect's a horrible word to use for this, but the best match
Yeah.
for what I'm looking for and what I need in form of like support and
Mm-hmm.
what I go through. Um, 'Cause I have
Well,
a lot of shit that goes on. Like we all do,
yeah.
but it's all different shit. So
And
finding the right fit, I guess.
well, to piggyback off of like what you said about family, Ben, I feel like this relationship has made me kind of realize that there's a lot of things that your parents do that you don't realize will trickle down
Oh yeah.
into like how you deal with a romantic partner because genuinely that's what you see. And like granted I've dealt with like past partners obviously not being right or dealing with like narcissism and in that aspect, but like this relationship has truly like kind of made me step back and be like, okay, well, if we are to take that next step, like, and I've been very open about my fear of like marriage just because of all the divorce in my family.
Yeah.
And so to like consider I don't, just the decisions your parents made, like you don't realize how big of an impact that's really going to have on you until I feel like you're in the thick of it.
Well, and you think back to your childhood self.
Yeah,
I think that also plays a big role of like what did and I'm speaking as I'm in your shoes, what did I go through?
right.
Um, and what can I be better at?
Yeah,
And not to say that in your past and in your family's history, like people have done things wrong. I'm not saying that.
oh, they
And
have.
we can just, okay.
They have.
But,
Same.
but also just like the fact of, okay, what can I do better?
Right.
Flip that
Dear
upside
dear
down.
parents, you know what you did.
Correct.
And you're not paying my fucking therapy bill. You know,
Yeah.
like,
I think it's so interesting because that is so true, Haley, but Scott and I come from such different backgrounds, seeing
Yes.
relationships. Like my
Mm,
fiance's parents are married and they've been together for, I'm pretty sure almost 40 years,
that's
which
insane.
is absolutely insane. And I have the exact opposite experience to that. My parents got divorced when I was 6.
Yeah.
So, and then my mom has been married and remarried multiple times. And so we come from such different backgrounds, but we want the same. When we got together, that was one of the first things we really connected on was what we saw as our future life
Mm-hmm.
was so similar, and
Right.
we had so much in common about it. So,
Almost like a yearning. And I
yeah,
hate to use that word. It's kind of
no, that's
approached me, but
exactly right,
Yeah.
Ben. I said this to
Mm-hmm.
Haley. Didn't I just say this to you? I said, honestly, like looking at that just makes me want to be a mother
Yes.
even more. Makes me
Mm-hmm.
want to be a wife even more
Yep.
because I want to, it's almost like healing my little self to see like
Yeah.
you didn't have this, but you're giving it to someone else.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And
A
maybe that's a
1000%.
selfish way to look at it,
I don't think so at all.
but
no.
I actually saw this video of it was on a TikTok and it was a daughter and like her husband telling the daughter's mom and dad that they were pregnant. And when she told her parents were just like, "Oh
Oh.
wow." And then when they told his parents, his mom was like screaming, like so excited.
Oh.
And I was like, I just know that that's how I'm going to be as a mom. Like
Oh
when
Yep.
my
God,
kids
yeah.
tell me, like, you're going to be a grandma, hopefully they're over the age of 20.
Right.
But no hate to anyone who's not. I'm just,
Kids, don't listen to
You
this.
never know. Yeah.
yes. I was like, I just know when my kids tell me that I'm going to be a grandma, I'm going to flip my shit.
Oh
Like,
my
so
God.
excited. Can't wait. Be the best grandma ever and the best mom ever.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a good example of
Well, and
that.
that's all any kid can ask for
Yeah.
is for you to like be excited for them.
Yes.
And I
Love
think a lot
them.
of people lack that.
Just love
Mm-hmm.
them, respect them, and do the best you can.
Yeah.
I feel like, yes, it's more complicated than that. Obviously, we don't have kids.
Right.
But I
Not
think
yet.
genuinely, that's a pretty simple routine that if you follow,
Can't
you'll
go wrong.
your kids will be relatively okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many like simple, almost mundane, God, mundane is like our favorite word in our podcast.
I love that word.
Mundane like theories or thoughts seem almost ignored by people.
Yes.
Like, give me an example.
Love thy neighbor or treat people how you want to be
Oh, you just mean,
treated or
okay, yeah.
like so mundane
Yes, the most
bullshit.
simple of
Yeah.
proverbs to live by are often overlooked. I would agree, Ben.
And it's like it's and this kind of lives into things are easier said than done,
Mm-hmm.
but also like be a decent human being.
Right.
At a minimum to your children, be a
Please.
decent human being. Please, like let alone like care for them until they're at least 16, 15, 16, when they got their first boyfriend and their first car and they're driving around underneath your nose. Um Thanks, Haley, for talking about that when we had our episode a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just like be a fucking human
Yeah.
and recognize when you did things versus you seeing things that are going on or hearing about things that are going on. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I am the one out of the friend group, and I love you both to death when I say this. I'm the one out of the friend group where both my parents are still together.
You are
Hmm.
correct.
So it's like I also have a different perspective in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know where I was taking that. Um,
To
be
No,
a
but I
fucking
to the
human
bank.
being. Yeah.
I think like I feel like you, Ben, are breaking a cycle in a certain way, and also Eve, I feel like you are also breaking a cycle in a certain way. Like
And
being,
you are.
yeah, I mean, going against like
Oh yeah.
whatever, you know, whatever decisions your parents made for you as a child. But it's funny because like you said, like Scott, your fiance, like wants exactly what he had and you want opposite. So it's funny when that nurture versus nature like comes into play.
Yes,
Like who's willing to jump ship and who wants to like hold on.
Buckle the hell down.
Yeah.
for sure. And
Why do
I
you
think,
think that
sorry,
happens? Like I'm curious what you're all what you all think.
Why people jump ship versus staying?
I think that's $1 million question. But Ben, I would love to hear your thoughts.
I think so. I'm about to get really deep. I think
Please.
as humans, we all have different vices. We all have things we chase. We all have things that like catch our eye, I guess, per se.
Mm,
And we all know people in our lives, whether it's mutual, whether it's like, I don't know this person, um, that they chase shiny things.
Yes.
And I think it's an easy excuse for people to be like, whoa, oh, next thing. Um, and that's where I think, I don't know, having, what do you call it, self-restraint
mm,
comes into play. Of like, okay,
okay.
that shiny thing will serve a purpose for 2, 3, 4 months.
Right.
And then I'm going to look back and say, wow, I just left a wife of a marriage that I had for 16, 25 years and a kid
Mm-hmm.
for this shiny bimbo out of Vegas. Um, and
Honestly,
wow, like
goals.
my life is in shambles because I don't have any more money.
Mm-hmm.
The girl no longer wants me. And I'm speaking from a heterosexual relationship, but I'd also like to mirror this to homosexual.
Right.
Um, but it's just like people chase shiny fucking things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also plays into, we have talked a lot about this, and we will probably still talk about this till the day this podcast dies, of instant gratification.
Mm,
Seeing something and saying, I want that. In the moment
Mm-hmm.
that you get that kickback of, wow, you can have that. Okay, what do I do in this scenario? And too many
Yes.
people don't have the self-restraint. They don't have the, hang on a minute,
self-discipline.
you've got a lot of shit going on in your life. You got a lot of shit, packed up in that car.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Mm,
Too
Yeah.
many people don't have that flip of the switch.
right.
And
I feel like, sorry, Ben.
you're good.
I feel like this is an interesting question, Haley, because we all almost have, we're all different. Like, I want something different than what I had. Haley, I'm not trying to speak for you, but
Mm-hmm.
you want something different from what you had. But I would say maybe you're more like in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
No,
Ben, I feel
yeah.
like you do want to have kids
Want
and
nothing?
No.
no, but you want to have a semi-traditional life. Correct me if I'm wrong,
To an extent,
but
I would agree.
yes, like your version of it. So I would say if I had to answer the question from someone who wants the exact opposite that I came from, it was exactly what Ben just said.
Yeah.
Everyone around me in my childhood, family-wise, they were chasing something. And
Or
even as a
someone.
kid, or someone, and even as a kid, I picked up on that,
Yeah.
and it never felt good as a kid to see that because I was just constantly seeing them in this like awful, self-destructive, just
Mm-hmm.
in like anguish over chasing after something and they were never achieving it. And so I almost think because I saw these people who I'm supposed to look up to chasing and chasing and chasing
Yeah.
something, but never catching it, I think maybe subconsciously my brain said, hold on a minute. Um, that's not what we want to go for because they
Right.
never reached it and you're never going to reach that either. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to be almost like, it's almost like I feel the need to be more realistic
Yeah.
with my expectations for
Yeah.
life and
Well,
I enter to find happiness and joy from a trad life.
and Haley, I want to
Totally.
get your perspective on this. And Eve, I agree wholeheartedly with you. When
Yeah.
does the rat race stop? Like, when do you stop chasing that self-fulfillment and that shiny new thing? Like, when is enough enough is what I question in my head. And maybe that's my upbringing of like,
Mm,
I've had a
Hmm.
very stable home and like I haven't seen granted, I've seen shiny new things, but
Yeah.
I've stopped myself and had that self-restraint. Like, when do you call it enough? Is where the question comes in. And I hate to like shit all over people, but
No, I
I
mean,
mean,
Shit all over
realistically,
them.
like,
Spray feces on them.
literally.
horrible. Haley, I want to
I
kind of get your perspective here.
Mm. I feel like, I don't know, I think for some people it never stops.
Mhm.
I think at a certain point in life, you just kind of like step back. And I think this comes from
And start going to
people,
therapy.
well, yes, work on yourself, obviously, and like having that inner peace with
Yep.
like knowing that you're improving and doing the best you can and having grace for yourself, but also like um oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought.
of it.
Um
Whenever I would forget something growing up, my parents would say, "Must not have been that important."
no, I hate that. I'm like,
That's rude.
sorry, I have ADD.
Nothing would make you want to
Undiagnosed.
run out into traffic
That's
more.
hateful.
That is
Like,
hateful.
oh my gosh. I wanted to say the rat race, I almost think, is a different topic of conversation
Oh, 100%. I
because,
equated the shiny new thing to a rat
yes.
race, but
Yeah.
And I almost feel like the rat race in general should be a whole freaking episode.
Episode, I agree. Because I think there's a difference in like corporate rat race versus like your own personal rat race. Like,
Yes. And I love cheese.
I love cheese
I've been on a
and bread.
feta kick.
well, I think personal rat races also play into comparing yourself.
Yeah.
Hate to
Oh,
ruin the fun.
I
She
remember
remembered.
I remember what I was gonna say. I think it stems from like having gone through a lot of adversity, especially from a very young age. Like I think you just kind of realize very quickly after going through something traumatic, like what's actually important in life. And I think
Mm,
there's a lot of people that, especially in our generation, I feel like, and even like generation before, like millennials, I feel like a lot of them, I don't want to say like had everything handed to them because that's not always the case, but like just like they lived in a generation where like their parents could afford to do that and could afford to like
yes.
help the, you know what I mean?
Well, when you're never as a child having to stop and like survive,
Yes.
you you are fully able to enjoy the fruits of childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so for someone like Scott, he looks back on his childhood
Very fun.
and it was amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying he didn't have struggles.
No, no, no.
I'm just saying he wasn't traumatized.
Yep.
And so he doesn't look back like you're saying, Haley. You said this perfectly. I look back and I was traumatized and had to survive.
Uh-huh.
And so looking back on my childhood, I don't want anything to do with that.
Correct.
So I want the
1,000%.
complete opposite.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know. I feel like that's where the difference comes in
Mm-hmm.
to generation by generation, and all of our parents, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, grew up in the baby boomer era. And
When's the baby boomer era?
I
great
don't know.
question, but
I'm gonna Google it while you
Yeah,
talk.
please Google it.
I like we all grew up with pandemics and popes dying and the fucking recession of 2008 and our parents stressing about that, and like you all had much more trauma than I did just based on like our family structure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, like I feel like our generation and millennials, like the generation before us, were forced to grow up very quickly and mature very quickly and
I would
understand of
agree.
Yeah.
like the consequences of our actions and the consequences of the people that were before us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's where this break the cycle idea comes in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Baby boomers were 1946 to 1964. So my parents were Gen X, which is after.
Okay, yeah, same.
and that's 1965 to 1980.
Yeah.
And
But
then
even
we
that
are
generation.
Gen Alpha.
Because when you
I'm
talk
the
about the
alpha. I'm the
70s and
alpha.
80s, I
Why?
mean,
I thought we were Gen Z.
Oh wait, excuse me. Yeah,
we're-
we're Gen Z.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Sorry.
Oh.
I just wanted to be Gen Alpha, so I could say that. Alpha.
you're the alpha. You are the
We're
alpha to me.
getting Eve a tail and ears.
About time.
Honestly, ew.
I've been waiting on that.
I'm not trying to hate on nobody, but that shit's weird.
I can't. Truly, I can't.
I will.
Okay. Sorry,
I,
Ben, go
I
ahead.
feel like my wrap up point on this is just like, I don't know, there's generational trauma. It's not just like individual. There's
Correct.
generational shit that goes on.
To wrap
Um,
up this topic, I think we should each say like advice or something like you would say to 20-year-old you about
Oh.
love, relationships.
Oh
So,
gosh.
who wants to go first?
Hmm.
I can if you guys want to think.
why don't you go
Okay.
first?
Okay. I would look at 20-year-old Eve and I would say what you're doing right now. I don't want to go into specifics.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing right now is going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean you're absolutely never ever going to get fulfillment from the type of relationships that you're in right now.
Preach.
So
Damn.
move the fuck on.
Damn.
That's what I would say. 20-year-old Eve needs some tough love.
She needed something. But
She needs currently 25 needs something. Not about
no,
love, but
she made it. She made it just fine.
I feel like mine would be wake the fuck up. Like, get the fuck up and wake the fuck up.
Yeah, that's
The
fair.
world is waiting on you. I think I found myself and what I excel in and what I do best at later in life than most people
Mm-hmm.
from like a career aspect. But I will say I'm very self-aware personally of
Mhm.
shit that affects my life and my friendships and my relationships.
Yeah.
But again, 20-year-old Ben, get the fuck up. Like go out there. Do
Yeah.
the damn thing. Because you're
Love that.
you're able to, you know. Haley,
I feel like I would kind of tell myself similar. I would also probably go the tough love route like you guys did and just say like I don't know, it takes a lot of hard work to be able to like learn obviously like what triggers you, why it triggers you, what your emotions stem from,
Mhm.
like but it's worth that hard work in the end. Like
well, that and you learn something new every day about
well
yourself.
and it translates into every aspect of your life. Like it helps
Mhm.
you know, it helps your friendships, it helps your romantic relationships, it helps relationships with your family, it helps the way you talk to yourself. Like truly putting in that hard work pays off in the end.
I'd agree with that.
Delete his number and have a good fucking summer.
Block his ass, have no contact.
Me getting unblocked and blocked on
Oh
Snapchat
my
constantly
God,
by the
yeah.
guy I
My
can't
fingers
escape.
smell so much like shrimp. It's disgusting me right now.
My
It
triple
smells
dipper
like
combo
I've
is
like
staring at me
fingered
right now.
a prostitute. Okay, I want to wrap it up with a fun topic.
Okay,
Please,
yeah.
I was just about to ask.
Well, one, I'll say a fun topic, but also I had an idea for our next episode.
Okay.
Grief doesn't always apply to someone dying. Maybe
Oh
we could
God. Oh,
Mm,
holy
we can touch
shit.
on that later.
yeah.
But a fun topic. Where were you when you learned how to utilize Google?
Oh my
Oh
God.
God. Now it's AI in our generation. Copilot and ChatGPT, open that shit up.
No, not our generation, the next generation's AI. We were learning on Google.
Uh-huh. We
Oh,
got through
honey, I
all of
learned
school.
Copilot 6 months ago, so that's why I was saying that. But
Oh yeah. Haley, this is kind of something we always joke about, but I learned to utilize Google because puppies and kitties.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my
Cannot
God,
be
wait.
K in
Yeah.
And then also I learned Google because I didn't know how to find Club Penguin. And so I would just Google penguin.
Yeah. I feel
And I probably spelled it like pengon.
like
Hang on.
KLUB club. I feel like I would always see like my dad at the computer growing up.
Mm.
Like our computer desk used to be like in our living room. So he would be like sitting there watching, or my dad was a video game guy as well when I was growing up.
So was mine.
But between that and like my mom, whenever we would go somewhere new, print out like MapQuest directions. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And she'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, hold these for me while we're driving in the car, and you have to tell me where I'm supposed to turn. But they would be like on a printer piece of paper.
And you're like, I'm 7.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't read.
I don't know how to write my name, so.
Mine would have to be like definition thing,
Oh, that's good,
Oh,
Ben.
like looking up words because I was illiterate
you're
at
like, what does
4 years
slut
old.
mean?
Guys, have you seen that meme where it's a guy like ripping his hair out and then he like goes to his computer and he Googles how to not be gay?
Thanks, you.
No,
I
I'm
did
So
do that
dumb.
at 14 years old.
I'm
Thanks.
sorry.
That's actually in Ben's search history,
That's
probably.
my first Google search.
I know nothing about that experience, obviously, but I feel like it's scary. It shouldn't be, but it's scary when
It's
you're a
scary.
kiddo
It
and you're trying
is.
like we're trying to just figure out who we are, let alone your sexuality. So
Oh
True.
my
You
God.
don't even know what the definition of sexuality is at that age.
Literally.
that's what you were Googling.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Well,
yeah.
Eve, take us out here.
Okay. Thanks so much for listening. We hope that you maybe learned something. And if you broke up with your partner because of this episode,
Good
woo!
luck.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
I'm having a drink with you.
And we have upped our upload schedule for the near future to hopefully once every Monday. So
Tune
once
in,
almost
listen.
every Monday. Yeah, so
Yeah.
listen, share it with your friends, specifically the ones that you tolerate. And
Period.
Mm-hmm.
we love you. We hope that you had a good day.
Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon.
See ya.